break even or else. Get out of business or you'll be out of business. That's how it works. Now, today we're going to talk about breaking even. And it's interesting, when I ask people about their definition of what does breaking even mean in their business, they always say to me, Ben, it's the point where I'm covering my expenses. And you know what? That's sort of true. Well, it is true. Right? It is the point where you're covering all your expenses. However, I want you to think about it in a different way. So when you think about breaking even in your business, I want you to think about it's the point at where you start to make money. Okay, now it's the exact same point. I get that, and I'm being pedantic, but it's a mental mind shift, state of mind thing when you say my break-even point is when I start to make money. Because did you go into business to cover expenses, or did you go into business to make money? I can bet the answer is number 2, the latter. Well, of course. So wouldn't it make sense then that you would know exactly at what point you start to make money? Because it horrifies me, absolutely horrifies me that people don't know how to work out their break-even point. It horrifies me that people are getting through their years of running a business and they're not making any money, yet they don't know where they start to make a dollar. It doesn't make sense. If you went into business for more time or more money, you better listen up, because this is how you work out your break even. It's very, very simple. First of all, you need to know what percentage it costs you to get a sale. Now, what this means is if you are, let's say you're a product-based business, let's say you sell cameras. Here we go. Let's say you sell cameras. This camera would have a cost to it. You buy a camera. I'm holding it up for the YouTube viewers, by the way. If you're listening to this on the podcast, sometimes my episodes are going to get a little bit strange because you can't see what's going on, but I'm holding up a camera. Let's say you sell cameras. And the camera that you sell, you buy off of a camera manufacturer for $500 and you sell it for $800. Well, the cost of that $800 sale is $500 because the manufacturer has to be paid the $500. Okay, so that's the cost of sale. Now, if you're a service-based business, let's say removalist, the cost of the fuel, the truck expenses, the tolls maybe, the contractor's wages on that day to do that move is a cost of getting the sale. Now, this is where it gets a little complex because the truck repayments, even though they're not going to go on your P&L anyway, but the interest on the loan would, and the running cost payments, the wages of people that are full-time employees aren't costs of sale. They're actually fixed expenses, right? So you need to be able to identify different things in your business, but you need to know your cost of sales as a percentage. So let's say I use the camera example again. Let's say I buy a camera for $500 and I sell it for $1,000 because that's easy maths and I've always sucked at maths, so it's an easy way to do it. Well, then my cost of sale is 50%. Okay, and what that leaves me with is 50% to pay all my fixed expenses and to make profit, right? So by knowing my cost of sale, if let's say my fixed expenses, then this is the next number I need to know. So I know my cost of sale as a percentage. I know my gross profitability then as a percentage because it's whatever's left over. So if my cost of sale is 50%, my gross profit is 50%. If my cost of sale was 40%, my gross profit is 60%. If my cost of sale was 30%, my gross profit is 70%. That's how it works, right? So you need to know that number. The next number you need to know is what is my fixed expenses as a dollar total. Okay. Now, my fixed expenses are the things that I'm going to have to pay regardless of whether or not I get a sale. Okay. So even if I don't get a sale, I still have to pay something. Rent, telephone, light, wages, whatever it might be, right? There's going to be a whole host of things that you have to pay regardless of whether or not you get a sale. There are certain things that you only pay when you get a sale. That's a cost of sale, right? So that's why I used that example before. Even though you might have bought something like a camera and put it into stock, it's come out of cash flow, but it's not considered a cost of sale until you sell it. It goes into your balance sheet as an asset, okay? Gets a little bit confusing, but stick with me. So I need to know what my fixed expenses are. Now, this is all, fortunately, on your profit and loss statement. So hopefully your numbers are up to date. If not, you need to get your numbers up to date so you can work out your break-even point. So let's say that your fixed expenses was $10,000 per month. So wages, rent, telephone, electricity, anything else, insurances, anything that you have to pay, regardless of whether or not you get a sale, is $10,000 a month. And let's say that your gross margin or your cost of sale is 50%. Okay, let's say you are a camera store that has a 50% gross margin. Now, they probably wish they did, they don't. But for this example, that's what we're going to do, right? If I have fixed expenses of $10,000 and my gross margin is 50%, I have to sell $20,000 worth of cameras just to break even, right? Because I sell $20,000 worth of cameras. It's cost me $10,000 worth of stock to sell them, and I'm left with another $10,000 to pay all the fixed expenses. So that's wages, et cetera, et cetera. And that gives me a zero profit and a zero loss. Okay, so it's called breaking even. I sound like Breaking Bad. Breaking even is what it is, right? So that's a point where you start to make money. And it's really important as a business owner to know this point. So just to summarize, if my cost of sale is 50% and I have $10,000 worth of fixed expenses, I need to get $20,000 in sales just to break even. Now, every dollar that I make past the $20,000, I only get half of, because remember, 50% is a cost of sale. So if I want to make $5,000, I have to sell another $10,000 worth just to cover that. So I've done $20,000 in sales to cover my fixed expenses. I then will do another $10,000, so a total of $30,000 in sales, and that'll give me a $5,000 profit. Now, the good thing about knowing this number is that I can start to put a budget together in my business for how much money I want to make. So instead of just aiming for a sales target for the sake of aiming for a sales target, knowing my break-even point means I know exactly what I have to do to make the money that I need to achieve my goals, whatever it might be that you've decided. And I see too many people in business, they don't know their numbers, and I think it's scary. It would be like driving your car without the dashboard working. And it's simple things like, cash flow, profit and loss, break-even point, knowing what products or services do give you the highest margin, because, you want to be able to decrease your break-even point. And one of the ways that you can do that is to sell higher, profitable goods, things that are more profitable. That way your sales don't need to be as high to break even. Or you could reduce your fixed expenses. But if you don't have any of that, and you're not looking at any of that on a regular basis, and you don't have those reports, then you're out of control. You're not keeping an eye on it. So, today's podcast was all about, breaking even or else. Pretty much that's it. Break even or else. Get out of business, or you'll be out of business. That's how it works. One final thing. If you're watching this on YouTube, thumbs up, please. If you enjoyed the video, comments down below if you've got any comments. And of course, hit the subscribe button. So, every day I bring out a new episode. That way you'll never miss an episode. And of course, dbtpodcast.com. Join the Daily Business Tips Tribe. We'd love to have you in the tribe, be a part of the group. It's a lot of fun there. Today, I am going to finish off with a quote by one of my favorite all-time entrepreneurial mentors. His name was Jim Rohn. And here's what Jim said. Jim said, "Your income is directly related to your philosophy, not the economy." Until tomorrow, have a profitable day.